And sometimes there are way too many. So why not fill them with SiriusXM? Think about it. You can wake up with Howard Stern in the morning, let commercial-free music get you through the daily grind, and then wrap it up with news, talk, and comedy on the way home. All you've got to do is visit SiriusXM.com/go to sign up online quickly, or call 844-711-8800 now. And if the day doesn't go faster, at least you know it'll sound much better. Channels vary by subscription plan.
You know SiriusXM has over 100 extra channels on the SiriusXM app, filled with ad-free music made for everything you do. Mashup channels, workout channels, channels for parties, or just chilling out and more. Expertly curated for any mood, occasion, or activity. Extra channels let you discover new music and enjoy even more variety from every decade and music style you love. Plus, you can watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows with SiriusXM Video. And you can do it all along with listening in your car as part of our music and entertainment plan. Right now, we're offering SiriusXM subscription plans for as low as $6 a month, plus fees and taxes. Call 844-711-8800 to find out more about these amazing offers.
Get closer to comedy with SiriusXM.
Welcome, everybody.
Exclusive comedy talk shows.
This is childlike banter.
This is gonna be nuts. The biggest comedy stars.
Does Jerry Seinfeld miss TV?
Kevin, I did TV.
Michael Che, Colin Jost. Do you guys think post SNL?
I would like to meet my kids. Brian Regan. If I could make $100 doing comedy, I'll have the world by the tail.
I'll do this till the wheels come off.
I even know that was legal.
To listen to SiriusXM Comedy, activate your subscription now by calling 844-711-8800 or head over to SiriusXM.com to sign up quickly.
A channel with songs to rock your pregame and amplify end zone celebrations. Tailgating anthems, one of more than 200 extra channels always available on the SiriusXM app.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, I see.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 018142.
Grando Deportes, Bonjour, Vidi Vidi Vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me, and people who love the universe. And that includes you on a beautiful Tuesday, September the 10th, in 2024. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them sit you where the good Lord split you. And hopefully the good Lord didn't put you too wide. If you want a wider split, keep using those fast food drive-thrus and eateries. That'll give you a wider split. I want to say what a great day in Dimdale Hills, California. A lot of good things that are happening in the world of Big C Sports Podcast. We got the presidential debate tonight with Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And they say the truth, so set you free. Somebody says you can't have any felonies to run for president in the United States. Well, we will see if that's true or not. I do appreciate they want to talk about Dr. Cornel West, also a presidential candidate. But I love talking about Dr. Cornel West, really do appreciate him. But at the same time, I want to say with Big C Sports Podcast, I also got some sports to talk to you about as well, and a special guest. and his son coming on. I want to say with Big C Sports, I'm one beautiful, intelligent black man. I always produce the show. I direct the topics. I do all the updates and all the laughter in the platforms provided by the agency. We can all use more laughter in our lives. I do the storytelling. I even do the play-by-play. First and goal, 1 yard line, 4 wideouts, 5-man front by the Jets. Montana rolls back. He throws downfield. It is caught at the goal line. Touchdown, Jerry Rice. Why would they run the ball on the? Why wouldn't they run the ball on the 1 yard line? They passed it. Big C, that was Seattle versus New England. Oh, yes, that's right. That was Seattle versus New England. Montana to Rice. How about those Niners? I told you last night. Maybe I should get a sports betting agency to sponsor Big C Sports. 800 Gambler. How about 800 Gambler? Sponsor Big C Sports. As I predicted last night's score from Denver Hills, California, I said 49ers 31 and the Jets 20. I was wrong. It was 32-19. Well, I was off by a point for both teams. You got to give that some praise. I tell you, the show's uploaded to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City. And then I never missed a show since creating Big C Sports. And now we have people who miss practice. I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about practice. We have people who miss practice, but I never miss a show. Really do appreciate that. I also want to say what I don't want to miss is the fact that I pay homage to our veterans. We have a Veterans Crisis Hotline. It's not mine. It's yours. It's yours. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. You know anybody going through issues, pick up the phone. Call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give it some praise because we all need somebody to lean on, and the show is good when somebody's leaning back. I love when somebody's leaning back. I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And then God said, let there be light. Big C, he just said, let there be light. But light, I want to shine the light on reparations. I wonder if they'll even talk about reparations for tonight's presidential debate. It's been the most seminal news story in California. And as California goes, so goes the country. It's not over. There's still some bills that got through. And I want to say for the good old boys that believe in reparations, when you think about things that have been proposed at the state capitol in California, Senate Bill 1050, it passed with a 56-0 vote. That was 56 yeas and 0 nays. And then they refused to bring up Senate Bill 1331 and Senate Bill 1403 to establish Freedmen's Bank, and also the department that would trace the lineage for the reparations. But it's not over. It's coming right back to you in January of 2025, and we know that's going to happen. I do want to say I love so much about the world of sports, and I love doing what I do with Big C Sports Podcast. I also know that a mind is a terrible thing to waste. I want to tell you, I'm not going to waste my mind. But I do have a commercial or infomercial that I want to get through before I get into our special guest with the Olympic team, and also some great wrestlers that are a part of what we do here with Big C Sports Podcast. I want to say pay attention because I may have a quiz. I have a guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth. Resource Development Consulting, Inc., in conjunction with the law office of Scott Thibodeau and attorney George Jones, the Missing Link Long-Term Care Solutions by the book. Over 3 decades of experience helping seniors get their benefits, Medicare and you, taking care of tomorrow. In California, it's called Medi-Cal, and other states it's called Medicaid. Your family and spouse can avoid the spend down for nursing home costs. You can find out your options, 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. And tell them Big C sent you. Our promise to you, specialized to navigate and maximize long-term care benefits, protection of your assets without a spend down. The spend down is over in California. All paperwork and communication with all government agencies are handled by a staff of entitlement specialists, ongoing consulting to provide updates as necessary, benefits covering skilled nursing facilities, prescription medications, medical equipment costs, and more. But not only that, protection of your assets, including your home, thereby allowing you to leave a legacy for your family. If you ever needed something protected, you got to have your asset protection. And that's what a trust does. Avoiding the nightmare of debt brought by the government's estate recovery program called probate. If you don't have a will and a trust, you will go to probate. And I tell you, you will not like it when they send you to probate. That's why you got to have a will and a trust, a one-time processing fee versus monthly insurance premiums for the rest of your life. I'm not done yet, as I tell you, with asset protection. Yeah, it sounds like a football play. Protection insurance coverage required by a law, a general liability, workers' compensation, lawyers specializing in living trust, Medicaid or Medi-Cal planning for long-term care, avoid probate, life insurance policies, veterans benefits, aid and attendance, pre-planning, and avoid the look-back period. What about fixed assets, Big C? Do you protect that? I'm glad you asked. A trust protects your bank account, checking account, savings account, money market accounts, certificates of deposit, and life insurance with cash values, your fixed index annuities. What about variable assets, Big C? I'm glad you asked, because a trust also protects your real estate, your qualified money, your IRAs, your 401ks, and other investments. For example, avoid capital gains. Let's say you buy a house for $100,000, and let's say that house in 1 year it appreciates to $1 million. Well, that's a $900,000 capital gains. You avoid that with a trust. You got to have a trust. 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. At the same time, you got to know a trust will protect you where other things will not protect you. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Attention business owners. Attention business owners. Attention business owners. You got to find out your other options to protect what your insurance does not cover. That's important. Well, how do we do that, Big C? You call 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. And when you do that, you got to tell them Big C sent you and give that some praise. I said give that praise. And at the same time, when you're giving it praise, you got to understand, life is about having the right connections. Everybody wants to know. Everybody wants to know. I mean, you got to know that you got to know that you got to know. You got to know that you need a trust in your life. Don't go around trusting that things won't happen to you if you're a business owner. You got to have a trust. I want to just pay homage to the late James Earl Jones, who played Darth Vader in Star Trek and Star Wars. Star Trek? Yeah, Star Trek came out before Star Wars, and that's what got Star Wars to be created. The great Gene Roddenberry created Star Trek, and then George Lucas created Star Wars. But the late, great James Earl Jones, this is CNN. We all know the voice, but he also played Darth Vader. Join the dark side. I am your father. Trust your instincts. You know it to be true. I am your father. Are you saying you're Darth Vader's father, Big C? No, I'm saying Darth Vader said, I'm your father. People know what they watch, the Star Wars and Star Trek. Great science fiction movies, but the great James Earl Jones, really do appreciate him. The voice that he spoke with was like the man coming out of the universe. It sounded like Moses coming down the hill. Really do appreciate that. I really am so happy the fact that I got the chance to live enough to hear the great voice of James Earl Jones coming to us, and that's what I appreciate with Big C Sports Podcast. I want to say you got to trust, and I want to say when I give you a trust, you got to have the endorsements. We have the endorsements with the RDC team of the late James Gomez, who advised 4 California governors and led to change in California nursing homes. He served on Golden One's board of directors for 21 years. He also was the CEO of the California Association of Health Facilities. But not only that, we have Robert Carlson, the late Robert Carlson. He was the top legal mind for CalPERS. He endorsed the RDC team. That's important with a company that does trust, will tell you that people who endorse it at the highest level. And that's what I love about doing work with the RDC team and the Big C Team Corporation, if that makes sense to you. I gotta say, but not only that, we have the endorsements of George Jones, Esquire. Now, he's the chair of the California Black Chamber of Commerce. That's important. He endorsed the RDC team. But not only that, we have Attorney Scott Thibodeau, one of the top estate planners in Northern California. He endorses the RDC team. But not only that, we have Mr. Leon Woods, one of the top legal minds with the RDC team. Works with many of the top people in California when it comes to getting people handled with asset protection. We have Miss Cheryl Brown. She's the chair of the California Commission on Aging. Not only that, we have Mr. Ray De La Cruz, the CEO of Resource Development Consulting. Been doing this thing for 34 years and counting. We have Mr. Alex De La Cruz. He's the founder of American Veteran Benefits. He endorses the RDC team. But not only that, we have Charlton Curry, the co-chair of the National Black Wall Street Project. I endorse the RDC team. Also, business development consultant with the RDC team. Also, owner of Big C Sports Podcast Corporation, the #1 sports show in the universe. I endorse the RDC team. But not only that, we have Double O. She's on the payout committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. Also a consultant with the RDC team, and has her own economics awareness talk show called Let's Eat. And she endorses the RDC team. Everybody likes to eat. Give that some praise. I say give it praise, praise, praise. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, as I tell you, I got a lot of stuff to cover today, but I want to bring on some special guests. And before I do that, I just want to say, again, thoughts and prayers to the family of the great late James Earl Jones. I'll be back in just a minute. All right, we are back from the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 29 podcast applications all over the universe and streaming on Sport TV platforms, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon and Fire TV. And I really do appreciate that. I have some special guests on the program today. We have the great August Wesley and also his son Anthony. August has a great resume, obviously, in the Olympics, and a great wrestler throughout the United States, and started in Northern California. And then his son, Anthony, also has been doing a lot of great things. And I want to start, if I can, I want to pay homage to your father first, and then I'm going to throw this to August right now. He can do the narration of things he wants to ask you, because I've been saying, August, you got to do a show, and here he is with a chance to do a show. August and Anthony, how are you guys doing?
How are you doing today, Charlton?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. So, August, you know, I've been saying life is great. We have NFL football kicking off. College football is kicked off. We're in the middle of a presidential election, less than 60 days away now. We have big talk of reparations, the most seminal moment in the history of this country to atone for its original sins. And then we have just followed up from the Olympics in Paris, France. And of course, there's so much going on in the world. Football, basketball starting up. It's just a great time of the year for sports. But August, I want you to take it away. I want you to talk about what's going on in your life, and then introduce your son, Anthony. Your thoughts. Go right ahead, sir.
Oh boy. First, Charlton, thanks for having me on. It's always exciting to be on, and it always seems like major things are going on when we're talking. So, yeah. First of all, thank you and all your platforms. I did want to bring up, I'm a little hungry right now, Charlton, and you want to know why?
Why?
I'm hungry.
Why?
I'm gonna tell you why, because I've been looking for UPX, FedEx, everything, and I haven't gotten my Big C burger. What's going on? Where's it at? I know how you like it. Big C burger, collard greens on the side.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying. What's up? Where's it at?
Hey, well, I can't confirm or deny, but I hear it got stuck in transportation. You got to blame the truck drivers that go from sea to shining sea. Maybe they got hungry and ate their Big C burger. It's all good. It's all fair level war. But you know, too, August, always have a lot of fun with you on the program. And then right now, Anthony is home, and I want him to talk about his first time to express the Saudi Arabia and Paris Olympic qualifications. But I'm gonna let you run the show, and you go right ahead, sir. Go right ahead, August.
August, you want me to?
Yes, August. Yes,
okay.
sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, great. Anthony, welcome home. First, we want to know, how did you get Saudi Arabia? How did all that work? And what was your experience there?
Ironically enough, you know how it worked, but I essentially was contacted or had contacts in Saudi Arabia for the Wrestling Federation, and they held an international wrestling camp for the preparation of their wrestlers for the World Championships for juniors, which is under 20, and under 23. And they brought me in as someone to help coach and be a partner for their up-and-coming wrestlers. So they brought me in. I stayed in Jeddah, which is about 30 minutes from Mecca, so you can see in the map. And it was wonderful. Very hot, very humid because I was by the water, but very wonderful. I enjoyed every moment. Food was good. People were great.
Yes.
It was wonderful. I enjoyed it very, very much.
Anthony,
besides the flights, I do have a lot of crying babies on my airplane flights.
Yeah, we love the crying babies. It's a time for a baby commercial. We got to get Pampers on to sponsor a Big C Sports podcast. But Anthony, I know August was asking you about that experience, but if you can, I want to ask you. You said you were about 30 miles from Mecca. Were you able to travel and see the kind of the spiritual experience of being a part of Mecca? Your thoughts?
I didn't get to go into Mecca, even though it is a very holy site for a lot of people.
Yes.
As much as I would want to, I got to kind of be around it. I did get some souvenirs and stuff because that's a place that not a lot of people get to go to.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the family, a lot of friends of the family. I did make sure that they knew that I was in the area, and they were very happy to hear that I got to go.
Yeah, so you've traveled so many miles. You're not even 30. I think, what are you, about 26, 27 years old? Your thoughts?
Yeah, 27.
27.
Man, I feel like I'm 65, though. I feel old.
Well, hold on. Don't say that to 60.
Wait.
We got a lot of 65-year-old listeners.
Wait a second.
Go ahead, August.
Wait a minute. If you're 65, how old does that make me?
Hey,
I'm not here to point any fingers.
What did James Earl Jones say? I am your father, Luke. So, August, we know we just lost the great James Earl Jones yesterday, and he played Darth Vader. And the voice, this is CNN. And it sounds like
Mufasa. I'm still not over that,
Oh, my God. Lion King. See, that's interesting. When you talk about Simba, Mufasa, and then this is the voice of CNN, Star Wars, and being the father, isn't it ironic that you're on the Big C Sports podcast with your father, and James Earl Jones played so many characters, whether it's Lion King or Star Wars, where he was the father of other characters. Talk about that symbiotic relationship that you two have, not only when it comes to just wrestling, but just being a mentor and someone to listen to you and give you good advice. Your thoughts, Anthony?
I think it's a really good example, actually. Not only because of this, but Mufasa, and then I guess Anakin in this case, was a very good figure.
Yes.
And it motivated, whether it was on the good side or bad side, for the second coming of the character to eventually surpass their father and become somewhat of a better leader.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's exactly what's going on here, but it does seem like there's some parallels going on.
Don't back down, Anthony. We know the holidays are coming, and there's always that last turkey leg. Now, you've been the one out there burning the midnight candle, and there comes a time, I know you've looked at your dad and said, you know what? I think I could take that turkey leg before my dad gets it. Your thoughts?
Yeah.
So,
and those big collard greens, too.
And the collard greens, too.
Wait a second. Let's just let the listening audience know that Charlton is a troublemaker, bona fide, he starts fires. Let's just say that.
I'm trying to get your mind off the Big C burger that I owe you.
Let me say that, James Earl, on a serious note, James Earl Jones dealt with a lot of color barriers.
Yeah.
James Earl Jones won a Tony, an Emmy, an Oscar. I mean, like, his trophy closet was full of things that essentially black people were not winning. He went through from being the person in behind to where in Star Wars being the only person of color was the voice. Go back and look at it. You know, that's what Star Wars number. What was that? 3? That's 3, right?
Yep.
So, and for us, it was 1, right? For Charlton, for you and me, it was 1. But, just what he did and what he broke down and the amount of people that he inspired and the people that he worked with. Not to mention, he was the sound of the, I don't know if it was AT&T, but one of the phone networks. I was in New York one time trying to dial a number, and when the dial tone came up, it was his voice on there.
Wow.
That says, "This is AT&T."
Yeah.
But he just had one of those transcendent, beautiful voices.
Yes.
And he could sing. And I believe he played. Did he play Jack Johnson, or did he play one of those roles of an early boxer? In the day. Yes. So I mean, like, he did so many things that were huge to people of color that just wasn't getting those roles. So it's definitely a sad day. He was home with his family. Amen to that.
Yeah.
But I mean, just to lose somebody. But how you tied it into me and Anthony, you know, it's just interesting because I'm just, as a parent, you want your children, boy or girl, to start at your shoulders.
Yes.
Your shoulders is where they start from. And the things that you learn, you try to help them so they can implement some things. And hopefully they listen to a couple things along the way. And also so that when they hit their head or they have some frustrations, it doesn't leave a scar. It might just be a temporary setback that they have tools in their toolbox to be able to deal with certain things. So I'd like to think that Anthony is well-rounded based on the things he's been presented. And also, I to tie it into wrestling, I think that with him wrestling at a young age and us traveling to Oregon and to Idaho and to Utah and to all around California and going back to Rhode Island and Massachusetts and Connecticut, going to these places, and he could see different cultures, eat different foods. He could see different styles of wrestling and start to make those friends. And so I think that, you know, wrestling has really opened up his opportunities. I mean, now, Anthony, how many countries have you been to? How many continents have you been on? Do you have a favorite? I mean, like, these are questions that he and I can talk about, and I'd like to have him answer that you just can't talk to regular California people. They went to Mexico.
Yes.
You know, maybe Hawaii, and that's a geographic thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe Jamaica. But Anthony, he has a laundry list of places that he's been. So would you like to talk about some of the places you've been and your best experiences?
Yeah, I mean, that list has been growing extensively in the past few years. I would definitely say Tokyo, Japan is definitely up there. The culture is completely different in a good way.
Yes.
Than most places I've been to. It's completely different. Very respectful people, very, very good food, good culture. Lots of stuff to look at, and it seems like it never ever sleeping, kind of like New York.
Like New York City,
Portugal's wonderful, Spain's wonderful, France. I mean, the list can literally go on and on. South Africa, people don't think, oh, that's this glitz and glam spot. You don't have to be in glitz and glam to enjoy it.
Right.
And granted, most of the stuff is surrounded around wrestling, but I didn't just wrestle. I did get to see a couple of things. I did get to make a lot of good connections. And I am biased in some of the places that I did go to, but this also includes a lot of places in the U.S.
Yeah.
Whether it's my time at Iowa State, go Cyclones. They beat Iowa this weekend.
Yep.
And being in Minnesota now, or going to Miami and being in Boston and Rhode Island, like with my family, or just being back home in California, you know, so I did get to experience a lot, and I do want to cross off more states as I keep going.
Yes.
I think I'm at like 36 states, so I don't have very many left. So I hope to keep it on going.
That's wonderful. Talking to the great August Wesley and his son Anthony Wesley. We also pay homage to the late James Earl Jones and how he played so many different characters as an African-American pioneer in the world of television and media. And here we are, three men, African-Americans, that are here on Big C Sports Podcast, worldwide audience. I want to also ask you, now you competed on several continents, like you mentioned, North America, Asia, Europe, Africa. You have a current invitation to compete and train, I believe, in South America, the Brazil Cup in Rio. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I've been in contact, so has my father, with a lot of people down there in Brazil, and they have offered numerous times over the years that hey, come stay with us, come train with us, come to this tournament. And it is definitely an option in the future for me to go train, because I mean, who wouldn't want to go there? It's beautiful climate, and great people, great food. So I would love to go visit there. I haven't done as much South America as I would hope or as I would want, but I can definitely see it in the near future. But yeah, there's plenty of invitations, much more than I know, for me to go and train. My father was just telling me I can go train in France here soon if I so pleased,
Yes, wonderful.
So it's having these connections and knowing these wonderful people that are in my life and support me is truly a blessing. And I couldn't do the things or be the man I am without them.
That's very well said, paying homage to your father. Also, if you can briefly talk about, and then I'll throw the next question to August, the upcoming World Championships in Albania, I believe October 28th through the 31st, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm actually very excited. I'm not going to be down as far in weight as I was for the Olympic qualification that was held in Egypt.
Yeah.
But Albania, I have never been to. So I'm looking forward to that. It is a Balkan area. I've been to Serbia a couple times for the past World Championships.
Yep.
And I do plan to kind of stay there and kind of take it all in because you don't get that cultural experience unless you're put into it, You can know people from some of these places or some of these countries, but once you're in there, you get to see how people live. You get to eat what they eat. You get to breathe how they breathe and see how they do day to day. So I do like doing that. And that's one of my favorite things about traveling.
Now, see, Anthony, I was trying to get your dad's mind off of that Big C burger that I owe him. I was asking about wrestling, and you come up talking about what kind of food we can eat. Now he's going to remember that I owe him the burger, okay?
My bad.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But I want to, because we do serious talk too. And if you think about the alchemy that we have on this program, this is not scripted. I just ask you a couple of things that are going on in your life, and then we talk. We're not reading from a teleprompter, and we're not serving some liquor on the side saying, hey, you got to hit this Henny on the program. And some guys do that. That's their choice. But we wouldn't bring it to our child and say, hit this Henny, you 5-year-old kid. But oftentimes, when we're African American men, if we become very denigrating to each other, derogative, we will find that people will want to sponsor us more as long as we sell that alcoholic drink and take a sip every 2 or 3 minutes. And I'm not mentioning anybody's name, but you know it's true. My show is clean because I want young people to look up to us and not say, man, let me go out and get me some Henny. That's not how you succeed. That's how you get into trouble. But I want to turn it to a more serious conversation. And August, I'll let you lead because, again, growing up, my parents always taught me about the color of law. And there's a book called The New Jim Crow, and it's by Michelle Alexander. We just saw what happened in Miami with the football player, Tyreek Hill. They got pulled over, being banged on his window, get out of the car, etc. Put his window up, put it back down, put it up again. No matter what, when he was asked to get out of the car, he was pulled out of the car and slammed down. Now, there are people say, well, he should have just gotten out of the car right away. As an African-American man, I have law enforcement in my family, so I'm not anti-law enforcement. If I get in trouble, I'm calling 911, and I recommend people do. But it doesn't mean that you should usurp the power of your badge. It says to serve and protect, not to drag someone out of a car and throw them on the ground. And in 10 seconds, I'll throw it to you, August and Anthony, however you guys want to take it. I was always taught, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, officer. But I've never been dragged to the ground by law enforcement as if I was some wrestler doing something wrong. And give me your thoughts on how that makes you feel to be extra cautious as a man of color when we run into law enforcement that's supposed to protect and serve, but it doesn't always end up that way. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll start this. I'd like to say, first of all, we have law enforcement in our family. My dad was military police. So being an Air Force brat, that was something that we was around and we were used to and cognizant of. Respecting the badge was always an important thing. But at the same time, you have to respect yourself, Charlton, and you can't put yourself in a situation to where someone can take advantage of you as best as you can. We have seen on body cams, we have seen on video and testimony from people time and time again, you do have, not all, not most, but some that take advantage of having a gun and a badge and a taser and handcuffs and a baton, and they do things to people. They intimidate people, and it's unfair. Right now we have cases going on. That woman that got shot in her house that had emotional issues. We have the other woman that was shot in her bedroom, that African-American woman, and now we got a straight-up star, the cheetah from the Miami Dolphins with a fat paycheck, and I'm sure they knew, get treated like that. At the end of the day, him getting a ticket for speeding did not need to get pulled out of his car for a speeding ticket. He did not need to get handcuffs. He didn't have a warrant. He wasn't acting a fool. They were not in any danger. I saw body cam video, and I'm sure both of you also have.
Yeah.
To me, that was excessive.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, here's my problem. If it was me driving a 2016 Nissan Rogue down the street, I would have had all kinds of problems. But the fact that it was him and he still dealt with that, you see, they made him release that body cam video really quick.
Yeah.
If it was us, it wouldn't have been that fast. That person has already been put on administrative assignments, not out in the field. That would not have happened so fast if it was us. So I'm glad nothing permanent happened to him, but I am happy that had to happen to someone that had the platform, and other NFL players saw it and was witness to it, and they can give testimony on it.
Yeah.
Because until it is illuminated, highlighted, and put out there the wrong that's going on, and I am saying this also that myself and Anthony have had great experiences in Miami.
Oh, yeah.
We have spent time with future NFL players.
Yes.
We was there for St. Patrick's Day, had great experience, have friends that are there, very good, that Anthony can name later. But I'm saying to see that happen to somebody with that stature scares me to think what could have happened to somebody who was a regular guy. Anthony, how do you feel about that?
I mean, you did say a lot, but I mean, it's a little different for me. You guys kind of, I'm not trying to age you guys or put an age on you guys, but you guys did grow up closer to the Rodney King stuff, so you guys have a little bit more of a different perspective. As you know, my mom's sister is a detective in Sacramento, so I did grow up with the same kind of mannerisms, yes sir, no sir, in terms of, especially for police. I mean, at a young age, both my father and my mother were both adamant to make sure I know that I might be treated a little different, but you still have to be respectful. Doesn't matter the situation. Try to not escalate the situation.
Yes.
But you still, be responsible. And as a person who is a high-level wrestler, it's in my best interest to not try to, restrain back. Because I know some things maybe they might not know, and then everything gets re-escalated. So using Tyreek Hill's platform probably opened a lot of people's eyes.
Yes.
I didn't see all of the body cam footage, but I did see some of it. And it didn't seem as though it was necessary, but I also am not the person that was the officer.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm also not Tyreek Hill. I bet he was fearful for his life, maybe. I know the fantasy owners are fearful for their lives.
Yes.
So,
well,
but I think I think it's very it sucks to see, but I'm glad that it has been seen, and social media takes things very fast, very quickly. So,
well, Anthony,
it might illuminate some stuff.
Anthony, this is Big C. I appreciate your comments because I had the same conversation growing up. Yes, sir, no, sir. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And being polite. I've still been pulled over too many times for doing nothing other than driving while black. But at the same time, I want to just say that message, we got to become. We don't have the power of the law behind us. We don't have a gun and a badge. And law enforcement is there to protect and serve. There are people who cross the line. But whenever I've needed to call someone for help, I did call 911 because I grew up around law enforcement too. I just hope there's better training.
And I think everybody should do that.
Yeah.
That's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, better training.
There are some unfortunate circumstances, but I do believe that, everyone said there's bad apples, but there can be bad apples in any situation.
In any situation.
So
very well said.
I definitely think that they are very well trained, so I think that they can be helpful.
Very well said.
Not all the time bad.
Very well said. I want to touch also, tonight we have a presidential debate. Kamala Harris, Donald Trump. I don't tell people who to vote for. because I was at the California State Capitol when the push and the vote for reparations was not even called to vote on. The one of the three bills that was called up was for eminent domain, getting property back that was illegally taken in California. What starts in California will sweep the country. That passed by a 56-0 vote for yes. When media tells you that they did this study on reparations and they'll say 75% of the white population are anti-reparations, I say, wait a minute. If that's the case, how did the reparations vote for eminent domain in California, where the voters were probably 80% white, they all voted yes, from what I saw with my own eyes. But then mainstream media will tell you that 75% of white Americans do not support reparations, but they support descendants of Holocaust through the JUST Act. They support the reparations for Japanese Americans with the internment. So when I saw with my own two eyes, it was mostly white Americans that voted pro-reparations. Let media tell you, they say mostly white Americans are against it. So that's what was so offensive about Senate Bill 1403 to establish, in 1331, to establish the Freedmen's Bureau that was originally founded by Abraham Lincoln in 1865. And that was not even voted upon in California on the last, but it passed the first two phases. So whether you're young or old, black or white, reparations just mean to repair. If any one of us were to go home and find that your house was broken into, you wouldn't say, oh, well, they took it, they deserve to keep it. You call 911 and say, I've been robbed. They would send law enforcement to ask you what was taken. Do you have a camera or anyone that can ID who did it? They wouldn't say, oh, that's in the past, don't worry about it. You want your stuff back, you want it repaired. So, Anthony, I want to ask you first, as a young person, point of view, whether people are very well read on reparations or not, it is the biggest topic in California right now for the legislators. Give me your feeling on what that means to you when you hear about people talking about addressing the past harms that happened to African Americans. Your thoughts?
Well, I haven't been in California for a few years, so I don't really know everything that is going on. But, I mean, reparations means a lot coming from someone who is African American. And also, like you brought up before, the Japanese internment camps, my mom's side is Japanese. So they kind of have it on both sides for myself. So I think it's good to know that people are talking about it. Yeah. Some people say better late than never.
Yes.
So it should be a step in the right direction, and I hope that everyone kind of would agree. It sounds like they did, but some people might just hold back and maybe not agree. But that's between them and whatever they believe. And I personally think it's a step in the right direction.
Very well said. They have a right to their opinion. And then, August, I want to ask your father also. I know you and I have talked about things. You know, the presidential candidate that has talked about reparations is Dr. Cornel West. Mm-hmm. He's come out and said, yes, I'm a president-elect, or right now Democratic-elect nominee. Kamala Harris said if there's a bill put on her place or on her desk, she would sign it. Trump hasn't as much said anything about it. But give me your thoughts, August, on how the country, when we hear mainstream media, whether it's Fox that was sued for defamation and lying, and other networks, they'll always take it 75% of white Americans say no. But when I'm on the state legislature here in Sacramento, they're all saying yes. So how does the media report something different than what I saw with my own eyes and ears? Your thoughts?
You know what? Some people say the right thing but don't do the right thing. So we just got to be honest about that. Some people, when a microphone gets in front of them, they say the thing that's going to keep them in their elected position or not to get on the wrong side of social media. But when you go to vote, because not only do I vote civically, but I am a voting member for Cape Verde for different things that have to do with wrestling in the for the Olympics.
Yeah.
That a lot of people say they're going to do one thing, but then when you see the results, you're like, wait a minute, somebody didn't do what they said they was going to do.
Yes.
And so that's important to hold people accountable, and that's why I'm glad people get called up on their record. But when you talk about the reparations, people are quick, fast, and in a hurry to offer support and do things for Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
So what about what's going on right now in the Middle East?
Yes.
Everybody's got an opinion. Send aid, help out. Where's the reinforcements? Now, I'm not taking anybody's side, but if you were to take Russia's side and for Russia to say, hey, this was our land, This was all USSR. We ain't got to go that far back to see. We're trying to build back where we had. Again, I'm not condoning. A lot of people have died, and I got nothing to do with that. I do have friends. I have been to Moscow, Russia. I got friends that live in Russia. We have friends that are in Ukraine. I've competed against athletes from Ukraine. Yes. So I have people on both sides. But what I am saying is people from the United States that don't care to say the right or vote the right way to do things for reparations that was done wrong here are quick, fast to send money, send support, send food, send aid, send military, send weapons, send all this stuff in all these places, because what about them? They shouldn't lose what they got. What about them? They shouldn't be taken out of their home. They should be treated a certain kind of way. But when it's time to implement those things towards us, sudden what had happened was it didn't make it past the checks and balances in the United States. Excuse me, wrong is wrong, but no one wants to go back. And even if we take it further back, we would look at how our Native Americans, because I am Narragansett Indian with ID, so is Anthony, but we don't want to go back to how they should be treated. Why do we have to pay certain things? Why do they have to have a casino on their land to make money to take care of them? Why isn't government still giving money for what they take, what they stole, how they raped, pillaged, and all this stuff? So I'm just saying, it's happened, but they like to turn a blind eye to it. And I'm sorry, I live in that reality. I have to worry about when I get pulled over, what I look like. I have to worry about, you know, some of the systemic things that you and I have talked about before because of the color of my skin, because of the people that are in power. We don't have the ability to do certain things, or it takes longer to get to where we could be able to do it. So it's just kind of frustrating for me when you sit back and look at that. I just got to say that.
Well, you know, talking to the great Anthony Wesley, this is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide. Got about 10 minutes left on the program. You know, I love the fact that more and more people are not afraid to be erudite on a program. And what I will say about Big C Sports Podcast, when I start talking about sports and reparations, and I'm asking the NFL that says it takes all of us on the back of their end zones, some NFL stadiums say choose love, or they say vote, or it says end racism. I don't see anything wrong with saying let's do the right thing and atone for our sins. And it takes people who are well-spoken enough to say that. I refuse, and I'm not knocking anybody, I'm just saying an observation. As 3 intelligent African Americans on this program, we're not pushing alcohol. What people do in their privacy of their own homes, that's their choice. We're not saying take this and put it in your body and put it on television so that people can say, is that what they're really like? All they do is drink and shuck and jive. I don't shuck and jive about nothing. At least when I'm on the air, I don't. But there's a lot of guys, they think that's the image of our people, and it's not. We're as intelligent as anybody. So I love having an intelligent conversation and not shucking and jiving. I do want to add, before we close, I'm going to let August, you're going to close the interview, but we still have about 7 minutes here. I want to ask you this thought, because when I grew up, obviously NBA basketball did not become really well popular until Magic Johnson and then Larry Bird. Right now, we have, on the women's side, Caitlin Clark has really shown that she's helped her franchise, Indiana, become a good team. I'm not saying it's just her. And she's going to be marketed by media. They're always looking for the great white hope. I'm not knocking that. I think Larry Bird was that way too. They had to pull a white person in to make it more appealing to the white audience. And people know that's true. I think Caitlin Clark's a great player. And she had to fight through that bias that maybe she's just there because of the color of her skin. So she faced some of that discrimination from maybe a certain media perspective. But as she's gotten a chance to prove herself, I think she's more and more embraced. I do think she should have been chosen on the U.S. Olympic team. That did not happen. But she's holding her own, and she's only a rookie. Your thoughts?
Let me throw this to Anthony, because I know he has thoughts on Caitlin Clark. She did go to the University of Iowa, which is a rival for Iowa State. So I would like to throw this to him. How do you feel about it, Anthony?
I think she's actually doing very well. I do think she's helping the image of the WNBA.
Yes.
As a whole. And she is breaking records, though I do believe about the Great White Hope situation, maybe Larry Bird, but she is very talented.
Yeah.
And I agree with the Olympic bid. I think Dawn Staley said the same thing on the Olympic qualifications, quote unquote, to be on that team. With that being said, she's a pretty talented basketball player.
Yes,
and it wasn't just basketball. She was good in coming out of high school in multiple sports. She was good at the University of Iowa.
Yes.
And she's good in the pros. And I think she's going to be a force to be reckoned with here soon. And I think it is very helpful for the WNBA as a whole to get all demographics, whether black, white, or in between, to watch the WNBA. So I think it's very helpful because I am more prominent in growing women's sports. I did coach a high school Team Illinois national team. And so I got to see a little bit different perspective, and it's nice to see that it is growing as a whole, whether it is Angel Reese, whether it is Asia Wilson, it doesn't matter. Skylar Diggins, it doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah.
But they are growing, and it is very good to see because it wasn't that big, let's say 10 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And now people are selling jerseys, this, that. They're getting their name, image, and likeness. It's awesome to see as a spectator, as a fan, and as someone who is actively cheering on growing sports as a whole.
Very well said.
Anthony, let me follow up with that. With you being a college athlete out of Ames, Iowa, to run and spend a lot of time at the football stadium, which is Jack Trice. And Jack Trice is a man of color. And in a state where they don't have any professional sports, meaning football, basketball, they don't have any professional sports. And to know that you're at a black stadium in a red state that's predominantly Caucasian, how did that make you feel knowing that you were at one of the few black stadiums in the United States that are college, named after a black person? And so how did that make you feel being at that college, knowing what the state demographics was?
Well, to get it straight, it is the only stadium named after an African-American person in college. So I want to make sure that you do know that. I don't know if something has been named in the last year, but as of last year, it is the only one named after Jack Trice. But that being said, it's a wonderful thing. You don't usually see this in the Midwest, and people have their own opinions. Some people come from small towns. I have been the first black friend of a few people, and I have no problem with that. I hope I gave a good taste in their mouth. I feel like I'm a decent guy, so it was a great experience. I don't really know how else, because I've been to games, but I wasn't a football player. I feel like if I was a football player, it would be a little bit of a more impactful.
Yeah.
I went to the college with a African American head coach, so that was impactful to me directly. So maybe some of the football players I know, and there's a good handful of them that would probably say that it is important. It is something to really kind of bask in the ambience of that.
Wonderful. Hey, you guys, we had about 2 minutes left, the 2-minute warning before we got to run. You almost made it through, Anthony. You said you hope you put a good taste in somebody's mouth. I just got in your dad's mind off of this hamburger, the Big C burger that I owe him, but you're going to make sure I pay this man this burger, okay? But I'm going to say in the last 2 minutes, August, I want you to close out the interview with your son. 2 minutes, please. Go right ahead, sir.
I wanted to say that I like the point you brought up about Caitlin Clark. Her contract is definitely going to help other women's contract. Her sponsorship is going to help the next one up. Almost like, Anthony's mom is a big fan of the Dallas Cowboys, and Dak Prescott just got a huge contract.
$60 million,
and so that's that. And, that's going to help the next quarterback up. So a lot of people are envious. I just want to say that, Anthony, being from a sport like wrestling that doesn't get some of the same sponsorships and everything, how do you feel about non-sponsored sports gaining the attention that they get in the Olympics that they don't get year-round?
And we got about 1 minute left. About 1 minute left.
It's kind of a double-edged sword, a lot of people know wrestling is very much a blue collar sport.
Yeah.
So we're not expecting that kind of love and attention and money. It has been growing throughout the years, and people have been taking a lot more notice, whether it's in the Midwest, West Coast, East Coast, doesn't matter. It's growing, and women's wrestling is the fastest growing sport in the country.
Yeah.
So it's okay. I don't mind, but it is growing, and we'll get there at some point. So that doesn't bother me not one bit. But it is growing, and I wish it would be faster. But progress is progress.
Well, I do want to tell you, gentlemen, we come to an end, but I want to tell you this has been a very entertaining show, to go serious, to go political, sports, and then the family relationship that you guys had growing up. There's more down the road. There's more meat on the bone. You ever give your dog a bone that has meat? Now I'm reminded of how hungry I am putting the meat on the bone. Okay,
see, Charlton, what I said, let's get it straight for the listening audience. I said, when Charlton said that he wanted us to come on, I said, can you FedEx or send Anthony and I a big seed burger with collard greens on the side and sweet potato pie so we could be full and comfortable during this segment. So I put that out there. I know it's coming from Elk Grove, California, so it's NorCal, so you're representing Jesuit High School and Center High School.
Yes.
I'm happy with all that. But can you please get it? I want to lick my fingers. I want extra napkins. I want the whole thing. I want it all, Charlton.
You got it all. You got it all. Come on. Talking to the great August and Anthony Wesley on Big C Sports Podcast. I wish you guys nothing but the best. I hope you had a super fantastic day. And I thank you for coming on the Big C Sports Podcast. We're going to take what's called the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. I'll be back in just a moment. You guys, thank you so much. Have a super
Thank you for having us, Charlton.
You're more than welcome. I'll talk to you guys down the road.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure, Charlton. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. All right, we are back from the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 29 podcast applications all over the universe and streaming on 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Had the great pleasure of talking to the great August Wesley and also his son, Anthony Wesley. Really do appreciate them. I'm sure we'll have them back on down the road if that makes sense to you. Tonight's the presidential debate with President-elect Kamala Harris and also Vice President of the United States, and then former Trump 45, President 45, Donald Trump. That will be happening right around the corner, as most people around the country will pay attention to that. But I want to pay homage, as I always do, to the California Reparations Task Force, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. I want to give praise to the chair, Camila Moore, and also the vice chair, Dr. M.C. Brown, Senator Stephen Bradford. Really do appreciate Senator Bradford, author of the reparations bills in California. Councilmember Monica Montgomery Stepp. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I'm a little bit disappointed with Assembly Member Reginald Jones Sawyer. I want to hear his remarks. He was also on Big C Sports Podcast just 2 Fridays ago, and Camila Moore was on Big C Sports Podcast just last week. And Dr. M.C. Brown, who also did the benediction at the DNC, he was on Big C Sports about 3 months ago. I want to give them praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Shell Grill. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to our attorney, Lisa Holder, who's a champion in diversity, equity, and inclusion. I want to give her praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at California Berkeley. I love giving them praise. I want to give praise to attorney Donald K. Tamaki, also part of the California Reparations Task Force. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. As I always tell you, I want to play one of the greatest speakers in the history of this country when it comes to reparations. Before I close out today's show, you don't want to miss it. Listen with your eyes and ears.
To suggest that, ending welfare as we know it, all those kind of things are somehow, great and noble things, when we're not dealing with the underlying problem, which is that there's no economic opportunity there because of insane trade policies and because of Reaganomics. And Martin Luther King spoke to this. Jim and Shane, this is clip number 4. Martin Luther King spoke to this sometime back in the early 60s. And I thought this was a really interesting quote. Here he is.
The problem. At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, They built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with. And this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
Well, I love hearing Dr. Martin Luther King speak. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want the country to be more conscious of reparations because that's real talk. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. As I always tell you on every Big C Sports podcast, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink, because mothers against drunk drivers are mad. And fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can walk it off. You can sleep it off. But don't let someone you love get behind the wheel of the car and start driving after they've been drinking. You can call Uber. You can call Lyft. The life you save may be your own, or someone you love, or someone who loved by somebody else, or somebody that's innocent. Don't do it. Just say no. Are y'all involved in mine? Don't drink and drive. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Well, as my beautiful mother always says, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that crap on their own. If you have that crap going on in your life, you need more leader in your life. Leader is an acronym for love is the answer. If somebody loves you, they don't slap you. I only slapped you because you made me mad. Call 911. If someone's kicking you, I only kicked you because it made me mad. Call 911. If someone's choking you out, I only choked you out because it made me mad. Pick up the phone and call 911. No man, woman, or child should ever have to put up with that crap, and things change when the police show up. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. As you know, on every Big C Sports podcast, I always pay homage to my beautiful family legacy. On my mother's side, my great-grandparents, Mama and Pop, they were beautiful, loving, kind people, always having lots of love in the family and lots of food in the belly, and always saying, boy, go wash your hands before you come into this house and eating in the refrigerator. I said, great-grandma, I'm hungry. I don't have to wash my hands. I want to eat now. She said, you can wash your hands in this house before you get more Big C burgers. I said, okay, she was right. Always wash your hands before you get in your grandparents' refrigerator. Love them with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My grandfather, great-grandfather, Pop, former military man and former Negro League baseball player. Love them with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful grandparents, Mud Deer and Hezekiah, they were seers. They could oftentimes look at a person and tell you a lot about their past, present, and future. They still help me to this day. I love them with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And I could always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and also coaching all boys a Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. Always saying rise and shine, the best person I ever met in my life. I love you, mama. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then on my father's side, my grandparents, Albert and Alberta Curry, they were pastors. They had 3 churches. They owned 2 gas stations in Oakland, but they also owned 40 acres of land. I was 8 years old walking through the hallway in Oakland one night, about 10 o'clock at night. I felt somebody touch me on my forehead. She said, what are you doing, young man? Going to get some more cookies? I said, what are you doing, Grandma? It's 10 o'clock at night. You normally go to bed at 8:30. She said, what are you doing, young man? Going to get some cookies? I said, cookies are baby crap to what I'm doing, great-grandma. I'm going to get my reparations. But a couple of cookies wouldn't hurt because it had been a long wait. I love them with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. She said, there's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak. And now Big C Sports Podcast is rising and shining. Love them with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure that planes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night. I love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful brother Todd with that bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning when top is peak. Always saying go forward. A voracious reader. Now we love Malcolm X, but we also love the movie Pulp Fiction. Todd would say, don't look back because you don't have much backside left. I said, I love my backside, Todd. So I've been doing more squats and that's why my backside's getting better. That's my story I'm thinking with it. But I think about football and talking to August Wesley and Anthony Wesley. There was a scene in Pulp Fiction with the great Sam Jackson, Vin Raines, Bruce Willis, and John Travolta. Before the big fight, he said, your butt goes down in the 5th round. Say that, blip! And Bruce Willis said, okay, my butt goes down in the 5th round. He told him what a lot of athletes say to each other. He said, that stinging sensation you're feeling, well, that's just pride flubbing with you. And he said what a lot of athletes say to the competition. He said, flub pride. He said, pride only hurts. It never helps. He says boxing is filled with a lot of unrealistic muddly buckets who think that butt gets better with time like fine wine, but it don't. In terms of vinegar, did it do? He said, take this money. And you're going to think, okay, Marsalis, when you're chilling in the Caribbean, we know that Bruce Willis didn't take the doll, he didn't take the dive, and he lost his L.A. privileges. I love Todd with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful daughter, Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years from a major university. Daisy, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything you want to be. Daisy set up the very first interview for Big C Sports Podcast back in the day of Salem Media. It became the first time in the history of the United States of America that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. They had never done that before until they got a hold of 2 black men in the crew, and then shenanigans happened. Daisy always trusts God, Isaiah 54:17. I pray that no weapon formed against you will prosper. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College graduate, very smart, erudite, a good man. Malcolm, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything you want to be. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get the newspaper and look up stats for Big C Sports Podcast on players and coaches. One day, Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since. Now on 29 podcast platforms, streaming on 4 TV platforms. One day, Malcolm said, Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports. You'll see your show come up. Well, that's before it was even on the air. Shortly after that, you can find it on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon and Fire TV. Malcolm, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything you want to be. Always know that. And then Big C, with all that wealth of knowledge over the years, like my great-grandparents coming out of that barn with their church buddies always saying, you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. Say, let's get ready to rumble. Say, welcome to the show. SB nominated Big C Sports Podcast. I have no scripts. I have no 3-bit teleprompters. I have no producer in my ear. All I have is this gland in the brain called the pineal gland. The ancients call it the third eye. They say that's how you talk to God. And that's why I scream so loud. Because God, you know my praise. I'm praising, praising, praising. You know my praise. I think I won $800 million tonight in the California Mega Millions. I'll take it. I'll not tolerate not winning it. That's my story. And I'm sticking with it. As I always tell you on every Big C show, back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly and you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty. I can't possibly be beat. And every time I listen to Big C Sports, I want to champion reparations now, reparations forever. And then I float like a butterfly, and I sting like a bee. There was no fighter greater than Muhammad Ali. Now, coming upon the presidential election, what I want to hear? What do we want? Reparations. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Reparations. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Reparations. When do we want it? Now. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you have a super fantastic day.